Top 5 ways we like to connect with our kids.
And we have a special guest.
Let's get into that.
Hi everybody, I'm Nathan Warnock.
I'm Andrea.
I'm Jaxon.
And you have tuned in to Family Friday here on the Marriage by Design channel. Family Friday is a show that we get to do every Friday where we talk about what the Bible says about God's design for parenting, for family, and practically how we can better live that out as parents and as families ourselves.
So Fifth Week Fridays are a time where we get to talk about a top 5. This top 5 for this month is top 5 ways that we like to connect with our kids.
That's right, and we do, as you heard, have a special guest with us today. Why don't you tell the folks who you are?
I'm, like I said, Jaxon Warnock, and I'm 10 years old, and I'm in 4th grade.
Great.
And do you know anyone else here in this channel?
Yeah, I know my parents.
Oh, who are your parents?
Nathan and Andrew.
Oh, Nathan and
we are
Andrea.
your parents.
Yes, this is our oldest, whom we're terribly proud of. And really thrilled that he's old enough to do some of these episodes with us. And we thought, man, what a great way to do a top 5, where we could talk about our top 5 ways that we like to connect with our kids, but then you could hear from one of our kids and what the top 5 ways he likes to be connected with are. Maybe what he says will give you some ideas with regards to your kids.
Yeah. Right. So let's get into our top 5. All right. My number 5 way that I like to connect with our kids is to get involved in their interests. So for Jaxon, that might be like playing a video game with him. And that's not my most favorite thing to do. But I do really enjoy doing something that they enjoy because it's just a special bond, you know?
Sure.
And I don't mind Mario Kart too much. I mean, I enjoy it. I'm just really terrible at it. So that's usually the game that I'll play with him. Or we'll play Legos together. He likes to do that. With Ryan, she loves to have tea parties. So we do tea parties together or play babies or whatever. And with Riker, it's anything with a ball. So if I play baseball with him or soccer or basketball or whatever, he loves to do those sorts of things. So, and sometimes it bleeds over, like I'm doing something that all of the kids enjoy. So I'm not necessarily just doing one child at a time, but getting involved in their interests is a great way to connect with them.
It's really good, babe. That's really good.
Jaxon, what's your number 5?
So, my number 5 for spending time with my parents is doing schoolwork with them, not including math. I struggle with math a lot.
So not including math. So you like doing the homeschool thing?
Yeah,
That's
like
sweet.
history and stuff. Yeah, I was just thinking like it's really fun to do it with you guys and do the research for like presentations and stuff.
Yeah.
I like doing that kind of thing.
That's been great. What's been your favorite presentation you've given in your 4 years?
Oh, that's hard. I like the ones where you get to show somebody something new.
Yes.
What was the one you did recently?
We always have one where we get to show somebody, teach them something each year, and mine this year was a board game called Flick 'em Up.
Yeah, so
Great.
you did a presentation on teaching how to play Flick 'em Up, right?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep, cool.
Awesome.
That's a great one.
It's a really good one, Jax. Good pick. So my number 5 is playing pretend. And this is one you are not likely to see on Andrea's list of things that she likes.
It depends on the pretend. But
Yes, but it's something that I enjoy. I mean, I grew up. I'm one of 5, and siblings in my home growing up, and so we did a lot of playing pretend. And so it's something I kind of am well versed at. And so whether it's playing Legos or just playing with little guys or just playing like
house.
Just playing house or just pretending like we're in a video game
or World War II.
or World War II or whatever. Just I like those kinds of playing pretend sort of situations, and the kids like it, and so we have fun doing that. So
That's good.
my number 5 is playing pretend.
That's great. I think sometimes I would enjoy pretend more if it was actually pretend. So when I played pretend with like Ryan and Jaxon, with Ryan and Riker, it's like, okay, pretend you're the mom, and I'm like, no, I am the mom. I want to be someone else. No, tend you're the mom.
Tend. That's what Riker says.
Let's tend you're the mom.
Tend you're the mom.
Well, I am though. So
yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Let's pretend you're a different
That's
mom.
fair.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
So, all right,
That's
good.
right.
Yeah.
Good. That's our number 5.
Okay, my number 4 way that I like to connect with kids is to play a game. So, like a board game. We have a lot of those around here, and we have.
Andrew is a collector.
No, not you are. And we have all different kinds. So some are really great for adults, but some are really great for different ages of kids.
Yeah.
And our kids love board games, even if it's memory. I don't know that I would consider that a board game, but
Sure.
we have Sesame Street memory and
Disney Princess memory.
memory.
You
And we have a game called Zingo that's really great for Ryan's age. She's 5. So
picture matching, sight recognition.
yeah, and she loves that. So
She was cheats.
so just playing game, and there's all sorts of games that Jaxon loves. Playing games with them is super fun because it's competitive, it's engaging for me, but they're also loving the time that we spend, and it's just a fun thing.
That's great. So I'm going to jump in here because I specifically left playing games off the list.
Wow.
Even though it is certainly something particularly that Jaxon and I really enjoy doing, but I've said that on my last couple top 5s, so I excluded it from this list. But it's certainly, if this were a list of top 5 things Jaxon and I like to do together, playing board games would be on there. And here's my encouragement with that. Jaxon and I routinely play board games together that are well above his age
We also
range.
have thousands of them.
We do not have thousands of
Feels
them.
like
That
it.
would be amazing. But my point in saying that is not that Jackson's really smart. Jaxon is a smart kid. But you can play those older games unless you are the type of person where like your competitiveness takes over and you must beat your 8, 9, 10-year-old child in a game. But otherwise, you can introduce those games, like heavier games, even things like, if you're not a hobby gamer, things like Risk and Monopoly and Life and some of those games where they're a little bit more mathy and complicated. But just sit down and teach some of the basics of the game and let them play. Right? There's several games Jaxon and I play where Jaxon will take his own strategy, and maybe it's not a winning strategy, but the point is he's having fun.
And I'm learning the game.
And he's learning the game. That's right. So totally, playing games is a great one, babe. And it's that thing you get to do together, as opposed to a video game where you're sitting together looking at a screen. A board game, you're sitting together, interacting with each other directly, playing with the board and the pieces on the table. And I find it's a much better way to connect than a video game. That's good.
You have to use more glue if it breaks, though.
That's true.
All
That is
right.
true.
What's your
Number
number
4,
4?
Jax? What you got?
My number 4 is having serious talks as an example, faith-wise. I just find it really engaging and just like a way we connect. And yeah, I just learn a lot of things from it.
Yeah.
So
That's fair. So the serious talks thing you came up on your own, that means a ton to me because we've tried really hard to create an environment for that. And, for parents that are listening, we didn't, this is the first time hearing of his list.
I'm surprised.
Other than this one, which we'll talk about here in a second, but all the rest of them I had not heard. But this one he mentioned to me earlier when he was putting this list together. And so my point in sharing that is sometimes as parents, we buy into this like, well, having serious talks with my kids about serious things isn't necessarily fun. And so we can easily kind of avoid that. But it's really meaningful and impactful to our kids. So I wanted to talk for a second about, because this is not what he originally wrote down. So Jaxon, why don't you share with the folks what you originally wrote down, and we'll talk about it as a group for a second. So you wrote down having serious talks, right?
And then
But you didn't originally write down about faith. That was kind of your second. What did you originally write down?
I wrote down sex. First of all, because it's the only thing I can think about.
Right.
Like, think of, like, as
That we had had a
serious.
serious talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had him pick a second one, and then after I had him pick a second one, I thought, I probably shouldn't have done that, because that was a meaningful, we have shared on our channel, and he just shared on our channel, that, Andrea and I sat down with him several months back, beginning of the year maybe, and talked about sex. He's 10 years old, he's in 4th grade, as he mentioned. And Andrea and I really wrestled with, when do we talk with him about that? Because as parents, I believe it's part of our stewardship before the Lord to protect the innocence of our children. But the other side of that is, we need to be realistic that we do live in a world, and we have a common enemy that is dead set on tearing that innocence down. And it meant a lot to me when he came out and said that was something he enjoyed talking about, having open and honest conversation with us about serious things. And when it comes to serious things, faith and sex are amongst some of the most serious things that we will talk with our children about.
Yeah, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he enjoys hearing the adult side of some of these conversations so that he can start processing some of those himself and start thinking more adult thoughts.
Right.
And I think that's maybe partially why it's enjoyable for him, because he feels like he's being let in on things that he's really coming up to an age about.
It's a good call, babe.
And I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
He really enjoys these big conversations, and he enjoys I love that he is super open with asking us questions about really anything, and I pray that continues throughout his life.
Totally.
But he'll ask us a lot of deep questions, and that leads into a lot of deep conversation.
Right.
And it is fun.
Right.
It's a great way to connect.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Jax. That's a really good one. So your number 4 was having...
serious talks.
Yep, serious talks as a family, or as between the 3 of us. That's great. Thanks for sharing that, Jax. My number 4, in that same vein of seriousness, is building a fort.
It is serious work.
I really enjoy pursuing the kids by building a fort.
Yeah.
Right, and the kids enjoy it. It is an art, right? I mean,
and
figuring out. Yeah, and it's a mess, but I think that's partly what makes it fun. Is to your credit, babe, our house looks amazing most of the time, clean and well taken care of. And you play I try to do what I can to help, but you play a way bigger role in that than I do, and I'm so appreciative that you do that.
Yeah, it's a whole lot.
But I think that's part of the fun of a fort, is that you take a room and you just wreck it.
And the parents are like, yeah, let's do it.
Turning stuff upside down and flipping couches over and moving tables around and putting sheets up with clips and, figuring out whose bedroom is which bedroom and where's the kitchen going to be in this fort and do we have little spots to shoot out of in case we get attacked and all that kind of thing. That kind of stuff.
And our basement is giant, so we take up about
all of it.
2/4. Not all of it.
2/4 of it.
Half?
Yeah, about half, but it's still like 30 feet.
Yeah, it's a big. We can put a big fort down there, can't we?
30 to 100 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's big down there for sure, and it's great for a fort because it's kind of one big open space. And we spread those forts out, and we got two level forts going on, and it's amazing.
It can get crazy. It's very fun.
So for me, love it. I think the kids love it. We all enjoy kind of doing it together. My number 4, building a fort.
Number 3, we're on to number 3 now. So my number 3 way to connect with the kids is read aloud. I love reading to the kids, and I do it from the time that they're itty bitties to I still read to Jaxon. So and I remember my mom reading to me even when I was in junior high and high school, and it's not because I couldn't read, but it's because It's because it's such a great way to connect, and it's really great for the kids' brains, and it's fun. So we do a lot of read aloud throughout the school year, but then like for school, but then like we're reading Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
And that sometimes it's read aloud just for the fun of it. Sometimes it's a book just for the fun of it. Sometimes it's like, oh, this fits in with what we're reading in history. So some of these concepts can maybe make more sense to you because we're reading a fun book that ties that in.
Mm-hmm.
For the little kids, it's a lot of, short books, the picture books. Ryan's just on the cusp of following along with like Little House on the Prairie. So she likes to hear it. I'm not sure she's grabbing all of it, but she's just at that age where a longer book is appropriate for her. But she still really loves the picture books. Jaxon will even sit along with us while we read the picture books, and I think that's so sweet. So, they're at most 5-minute books.
I don't read the ones that has a horse turning into a unicorn. I don't.
He doesn't like the unicorn books. All right. Well, Ryan does. But it's, I don't know. It's one of my most favorite things to do with the kids. Just we're all snuggled together, and I don't know. It's like a pile of people, and we're just all reading
sweet.
together. Yeah. So and it's good for their brains, and it's good for them learning and understanding vocabulary and that sort of thing too. But it's just great for the family and to connect.
Yeah, it really good. And I would just underscore that last thing you said there, which I know is not the focus, but it's an important benefit. And that I just was reading an article very recently about that's like the magic bullet as a parent.
Right.
Like if you want to set your kids up for success in school and beyond, read aloud to them regularly.
Yes.
It's got a ton of fringe benefits, and it grows you closer to your kids, which is great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, what's your number 3, Jax?
My number 3, and we've been talking about it a lot, is playing a board game.
Playing a board game.
Oh, it was on your list too. I figured it'd be on your list somewhere.
So, I like playing a board game because it's very interactive, and I say this a lot, but it's a way to engage with each other and get closer, like talking and stuff. And it's just a whole bunch of fun, and playing new games. I like playing new games, and a lot of new games I play, I beat my dad. So that's pretty fun.
We're gonna be cutting that out of the video.
Why? It's the truth.
You usually beat your mom too.
So why don't you tell the folks maybe 2 of your favorite games? Like if there was a parent watching and you were saying, hey, if you find this game, pick it up, play it with your kids that are 8, 9, 10, 11, what would you suggest for a couple of games?
Flick them up, but can't get that. They don't make it anymore.
Well, that's not helpful for the folks.
You don't make that anymore?
Nope.
Good thing you got it. We'll rent it to you for $100.
Bump it up to 150.
Oh.
I get 50.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So Deep Blue is a pretty good one. It's about digging gold.
It's a great game for if you have kids.
From
A lot of luck based.
Yeah.
So kids that don't understand strategy don't get frustrated. It's good.
On the opposite side with strategy, we got Scythe.
Yes, it's a good game.
With giant machines shooting each other.
Yes.
Those are a couple of your top ones.
Yeah, Mansions of Madness is pretty fun.
Yes.
You have to have an app for that.
Yeah, so Mansions of Madness is a good one if you have older kids. It's Lovecraftian type stuff, so there's some monsters and can be some scary stuff for little kids. But your older kids, it's a lot of fun. So great suggestion, Jack. Good. Thanks for those suggestions, and thanks for sharing that as your number 3. Okay, my number 3 is exploring new places.
Oh, yeah.
So I really enjoy going places that are new and exploring around with the kids. Now, to be fair, this is a little cheaterish because I also enjoy going to new places with just Andrea and exploring around. I just like the exploring generally. But, it's fun when you go to, places like, I specifically am remembering a trip we took to Breck Breckenridge years ago, and Andrew was hanging out with Jackson, and so I took Ryan. She was very little at the time, and we just started walking around the town, and we found like a little history museum of Breckenridge, and it was fascinating to me. I'm kind of a history dork anyway.
I like history.
And so, it's just fascinating to me. And it was, I've been to Breckenridge a lot of times, and I had never been in there before. I love finding stuff like that. Little coffee cafes that are off the beaten path, that are little, niche shops, or like exploring like a mountain, like going hiking and doing some exploration there. I love doing all that kind of stuff.
What did you do back in February with the kids?
Oh, yes. Do you remember the exploration we did back in February?
Des Moines?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So we took a trip to Des Moines. It was like a baby moon for Andrea, but she didn't want me to be a part of it. So
I asked if you would take the kids for a weekend to Des Moines so that I could clean the house, do that nesting stuff.
Right.
So I had the house all to myself for a weekend.
And
right. So we went out, and what was the exploration thing that we did?
So in Des Moines, there's buildings everywhere, and connecting almost all the buildings are tunnels.
Yep.
And they're tunnels, you can't see out of them. They're mostly like covered up by walls.
Mm-hmm. They go through all the buildings, so
yeah.
that in the winter, people can go from building to building without having to go outside. It's a brilliant design. Kudos to Des Moines for doing it that way.
Yeah. So we would go to one of the buildings. It's like a mall. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we would start by going on one tunnel, and there were maps everywhere. So we actually, both times we headed up, like, you start kind of down here and you move all the way up, and it's like 3 miles.
Yeah, it was a long walk, wasn't it?
So we walked all the 3 miles up to some place.
Yeah, the Hy-Vee concert venue.
Yeah, and they were having a concert there.
Yep.
You had to have tickets to get it. But
it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, these tunnels, because Riker, we've talked about Riker, and you can get in the tunnel and you can just let him go, right? And you can see, in most cases, sometimes it turns and, jigs and jogs around, but most of the time you can see quite a ways, and so he'd get up there a ways, and then I'd holler at him to stop, and he'd sit down and wait for us. But it was just cool. We just explored all these buildings, and it was really a lot of fun.
And it was super funny. In one of the tunnels, there's like a little strip that is just like a little drop off, but it's 3 feet. And so Riker would get down in there and sit, and it looked like he was falling. And one lady thought he was falling and was trying to help him.
But she
and,
got very upset.
She got freaked out, and she went over to help him, and she was like, "Oh." It's just like a little
Because he
drop
wasn't
off.
actually stuck. Yeah,
And-
it was fun. It was a lot of fun, wasn't it? We just explored. That's like the quintessential what I enjoy is just exploring new spaces.
Of course, they love that.
I like that tunnel because you could see the Capitol building.
Yes, it was very pretty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of fun. That kind of is a good picture of what I'm talking about here. My number 3, exploring new places.
Number 2, we're getting close. So my number 2 is to take a walk. If there was like some sort of
sure it would be.
extra love language, it would be taking walks. So I love taking family walks, and I have some kids that enjoy that and some kids that don't. So Jackson's not a huge fan of walks anymore, which makes me sad, but Ryan and Riker both really enjoy walks, especially if I do that alone with them. They aren't as much into the family walk as they're into the walking alone. But either way, it's fun. Taking walks with them just individually gives time for having talks, and walking while you're talking seems like more things just kind of pour out for whatever reason. So being able to take walks together is like such a fun way to connect with them, and you're also getting outside, which I love to be outside. It's a sweet time, and from the kids, you'll hear all sorts of things that you probably wouldn't hear if you just sat across from them at the table, or if you're just at home. So taking walks are a fun way to connect.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good. I should have been able to guess that one. Yeah, for sure. You love that. It's great.
Jackson, what's your number 2?
Watching a movie. I like watching a movie with my family, partially because I don't get to watch TV very often. But it's really fun because it's just hanging out and watching something, and a lot of times I watch something that, well, all the time, I watch something that my siblings would not be allowed to watch. So, for example, Jurassic World, or...
Oh, so you're saying you like to watch something alone with your parents?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Without,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I like doing that.
Yeah, a lot of things that we watch are funny, so we're laughing together.
Yeah.
Sure,
and
but
like,
he's getting to the age where we're taking some of the restrictions off on things like Jurassic World and starting to watch through some
Captain
of the,
America.
yeah, some of the Marvel movies, and so that's great. I mean, that's part of growing up.
It is a fun way to connect.
For
That's
sure.
great. Good one.
Very good, Jax. Very good.
Marvel's my favorite so far.
Captain America.
Yeah. Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, got that
Yeah.
Marvel hat rocking. It's great. All right, Jax. So you're number 2.
Is watching a movie
Together.
Watching
Together,
a movie
yeah.
together. That's great. My number 2 is going on individual dates with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So the first 3 that I had, playing pretend, building a fort, and exploring new places, those are all things we can do together, right? We do with all the kids. But it's really nice, and I think it's really important that we're intentional about having individual time with the kids as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so, being able to go on individual dates with the kids, to kind of pour into them directly and spend time with them it's an important thing that we get to do. It's something that I really enjoy doing. You really get an opportunity to learn more about those kids because it's just you and them, right? And there's no feelings of competition or, it's just frankly quieter and easier to connect with them. So that's my number 2, going on individual dates.
Great. All right, we're up to our number 1 of ways we like to connect with the kids.
Oh, man.
So my number 1 was Nathan's number 2. Going on individual dates with the kids.
Oh man, crossover.
I know. It's my number 1. That's why I didn't really say much or anything when you were saying that.
Sure.
I love that. I love having the one-on-one time with them. Usually we're doing something that they're wanting to do. So one time we went to this board game place with Jaxon for one of his dates. I don't remember what else we've done, but
Slushy.
yeah, he and I went on a slushy date. So it's fun to be in their element, doing something that they love, but also just doing it 2-on-1 or 1-on-1. It's a sweet, sweet time. It's really, I will say though, we have not been very great about that this year, and we need to get back on track with that. So it can be really hard to. Finding the time isn't necessarily the difficulty. It's finding the babysitter,
Sure.
because there's the babysitter thing and all that. But we can get unique with that at times where Jaxon and Ryan and probably Riker can stay up past their bedtimes easily now. So we can do a date with somebody after we put the other kids to bed and just have somebody come over and stay here for a little while
Sure.
with the sleeping kids while we go on a date.
Or it can
Sure.
be while you guys go on a date, I watch the kids.
Yeah, in a few years we'll get to that. Yep.
That's right.
But having those individual dates with the kids is such a great way to connect with them. They seem to feel more willing to be open. They feel super loved by that. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's right. It's good. Totally agree.
All right, Jaxon, what's your number 1?
Mind if I join the party?
No.
Basically the
Same
same thing.
What
And
a three-way crossover.
I didn't put individual dates. I put going out really anywhere, but
Like
it's
to
the
go out.
same thing.
Yeah.
So even if it's a full family date,
No.
You
I
just
meant like individual.
Oh, okay,
like,
gotcha.
The three of
I
us.
meant like yeah.
Or you and one of us. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Even to the store.
No.
Oh, I got the dirty look with that.
So not running errands, but
Like,
going out
going
somewhere where the
fun.
purpose is for our entertainment.
Yeah.
To
so
connect and be entertained.
Yeah. So
Cool.
yeah, I really like that because it's really like it can build us up together, and it's a fun way to connect. Like my mom said, we went out to Spielbaum, which is a board game cafe, and that was pretty fun. That's actually where I learned to flick 'em up, and so I like that place a lot. And so actually both games we played there we have here now.
That's true.
Dream Home and Flick 'em Up. So yeah, I just thought it is so fun to go on dates and not have Ryan and Riker interfering, especially Riker.
Jeez. Sorry, Riker.
He's always interfering with stuff.
He does. Yes.
He'll grow out of it.
It's his
And then
age.
he'll watch this video and then he'll probably pummel you. So that's good.
I'll run away to Mexico.
Oh.
Alright, so your number one is?
Going out really anywhere. Individual dates.
That's
Not errands.
Love it.
You didn't have to have that.
Well, my number one is also a crossover. It is a crossover with Jaxon,
Yay, finally.
and it is having intentional conversation
Knew it. I knew it.
with our kids. And I love whether it's doing family devotions and talking about something that we're reading in the Bible, or whether it's just talking about things that happened at school, or, whatever the case may be. Just spending intentional time talking and connecting really jazzes me up. And I really enjoy that time that we get to spend together talking. And babe, I would reflect something you said earlier, which is that I really pray that always, we're able to maintain that
For sure.
with our kids as they get older. And I know relationships, the dynamics of the relationship change, but I hope something that never changes is our ability to connect with our kids in deeper conversation.
Yeah.
So
it's important. It's important. And I know, it's one of those things that I fear that could change as our kids get older, but I know it doesn't have to.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's our top five.
And if
You
we
guys
ever do this again, I'm gonna add.
Well, what are you gonna?
Like I'm gonna take, instead of 3, I'm gonna put it to 5, even though I still love playing board games, and I'm gonna add in doing Marriage by Design videos.
Oh, that's very sweet. Top 5 ways to connect. You heard it here. Start a podcast channel and have your kids shoot a video with you. That is a top 5 way to connect with your kids. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. As you heard this top 5, if you have ways that you love to connect with your kids, love you to put them down in the comments below. Otherwise, pop over to Facebook, check out our Facebook page, and comment on this video on our Facebook page. Love to know what your top ways to connect with your kids are. Love to get some ideas from you. Maybe we can implement those from our kids. Also, man, love to hear what your kids would say. Right? I'd challenge you, ask your kids. What's your number one way that you connect with us, that we hang out? Or have them do a full top 5, right? Just as a family around the table. That'd be a lot of fun too. So, and let us know, please. Maybe there's some really cool ideas that Jaxon would like to learn from your kids about how to connect with his parents.
For sure.
So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you being here. And remember, God is for your family.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Hey, thanks for joining us on Marriage by Design. If you were impacted by this video, like it by hitting the thumbs up below. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and once you subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when new episodes release.
Excellent. Also, one of the huge pillars of our show is interactivity between us and you. So we would love you to comment down in the comments below if you have thoughts about this video, or if you have questions or other things you'd like to see considered in the future. In addition, if you'd like, you can email us. That's marriagebydesignpodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram @marriagebydesignpodcast, or you can find us on Facebook by searching Marriage by Design Podcast. Finally, if you want to, you can tweet at us. We do have a Twitter account that is @MarriageXDesign. Thanks, and have a great day.